get geared up, ready to go. Why don't you go ahead and put your name and organization in the chat, and so everyone can see who is here. This is recorded, so make sure nothing inappropriate walks behind you.
Oh, come on, Robert. That would make it a lot more fun.
Yeah, it would. It would actually. And while we're waiting for Susan and everyone to get in, I'll go ahead and self-introduce myself. Robert Boo. I am CEO of the Pride Center at Equality Park, and I am co-chair along with Raelyn Barlow, who is, does this work? You know, I've never asked. She is on my immediate right. Is that the same for everyone else? No? Okay. Just wondered. And we have a great panel today to talk about a very important topic. But before we do, let me introduce Carolyn Michaels from the Chamber and let Carolyn say a few words.
Well, good morning, everyone. Nice to see you all. Thank you all for being here. We really appreciate it. I just got off the board meeting with the Downtown Council and our city manager, and Chris Lagerbloom and Bill Walker spoke to the board members regarding the tunnel versus the bridge and so on and so forth. And certainly more information is forthcoming. Just very briefly, Robert, I had invited several business leaders, Bill Feinberg being one. I was contacted by the city of Fort Lauderdale to meet with a headhunter regarding comments and our input regarding the police chief. So I thought it was a very effective meeting, Bill, don't you think? And we absolutely, and we were delighted to be able to participate. So they're in the process right now of speaking to several homeowners association and whatnot in regarding their input. So that's where they are in regards to that. They do have an interim police chief. He was a former police chief in the city of Davie. He does not want the job. And that's why he's there in that position right now. So anyone that is looking to maybe put their application in within the police department itself, they won't feel that they would be stepping another toe. So that's where we are. We're extremely busy at the chamber, going forth in the process right now, planning major events. So thank you for the time, Rob.
Absolutely. And I believe Jenny DeBorgia is on the meeting as well, if Jenny would like to say anything about membership. Or not.
Good morning.
Oh, there.
She is. Sorry, Robert. Still playing with this new gadget that Dan gave us last week. So good morning, everyone. Jenny DeBorgia. I oversee membership for the chamber. And for those who are on this call who are not members, would love to chat with you. We brought back an incentive that we introduced last year to help with businesses during this business climate. And it is the 99, previously it was 99 for 90, and now we've turned it into 99 for 60. So basically it's an introductory price slash incentive for you to join the chamber at the price of $99 for 60 days. And then you hopefully within that time are able to decide whether the chamber works for your business. And you can either decide to continue or not. If you do continue, then the balance of what you owe as far as your dues will be collected after the 60 days. But we have a lot, as Carolyn mentioned, we do have a lot on our calendar, and hopefully, we can get you engaged and help your business. So thank you.
And then also just want to recognize Mike Cabello, the man behind the curtain, who helps make all of the audiovisual marketing communications for the chamber happen. So thank you, Mike, for helping us get the word out and facilitate today's meeting. So for those of you who missed, I want to just welcome you. Please feel free to put your name and organization in the chat. And I see the lovely Susan Reinessen is here with us. So good morning, Susan. I swear, do you have like a whole makeup team that just gets up and helps you? Because it's natural beauty. It's just there. I'm just jealous.
Thank you.
So anyway, so let's get started. So we have a very good conversation for this morning, and we want to spend as much time listening to our panelists as opposed to me. So first, I'd like to introduce the lovely Susan Reinessen from who's the Vice President of Community Affairs and Special Events for the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. And also joining us is Bill Feinberg, who is the President of the Allied Kitchen and Bath and the past President of the Board of Directors for the Chamber of Commerce. Bill, good to see you.
Good morning.
And then moderating the panel conversation today is our own Raelyn Barlow, who's the President and CEO of the National Leadership Institute, and my co-chair and and I keep saying this because it's true, the brains between the two of us. So so without further ado, I'm going to pass this on over to Raelyn to moderate.
And I keep saying, Robert, that we make an awesome team. So there you go. It's Boo and Barlow, B squared. We're an awesome team for the Fort Lauderdale Chamber. That's what I call it. So, okay, you guys, I am so excited about this topic. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Susan, for agreeing to talk with us. And I hope we have time for Q&A at the end, because I think we'll get a lot of it. I'm seeing a lot of new faces in this session, Robert. So I think that's the power of Bill and Susan as our guests. So we want to make sure we have time for questions. So today, we are talking about corporate social responsibility. It's a big title, but basically it's talking about how businesses and nonprofits can combine to create a win-win for our community. It's so powerful when we create these partnerships. Your business can grow, you can get more revenue, you can get more eyeballs, and you can help a nonprofit. That helps our community. It's amazing. So let's get right to a couple stats. I know some of the stats are boring, folks, but first let's talk about a definition in case anybody tuning in doesn't know. Social responsibility, very simply put, is the idea that businesses should balance profit-making activities with activities that benefit our society. Now, we love this concept. Not everyone buys in, but we hope after this session you'll buy in if you haven't already. So it means it's kind of your duty as an individual and as a company to act in the best interest of our environment, our society as a whole, and to give back in whatever way you can. And that doesn't always mean writing a check, which we'll talk about. We all want the checks, but there's more to it than just that. So if we can look at the next slide. When we talk about corporate social responsibility, you guys, it's got so many names. It's disguised, hidden, explained as so many things. Corporate philanthropy, corporate giving, workplace giving, employee volunteerism, community affairs, relations, community marketing, in-kind marketing, very important, and product donation. So corporate social responsibility is a big umbrella for a lot of things. And here's where I want to use some boring but hopefully eye-opening stats. Think about this for a minute. Did you know, this is according to a Nielsen survey and a global study on sustainability. Now, we're not talking about carbon footprint today, right? We're just talking about community give back. So these stats are a little off, and I want that disclaimer up there. But 66% of customers in these two studies will pay more for products and services from a company that has a community-oriented mindset. Think about that. 66% more consider what you do in the community before they come to you as a place of business. And then 90% globally would switch brands for a good cause connection. So CSR is a win-win. You just have to look at it the right way. And on the last slide, before we get to Bill and Susan, this one was really interesting too. So consider this. If you are a socially responsible company, people trust you more. This particular study said 90% of your consumers, of your audience, your clients, your customers will trust you more. So as the nonprofits are listening to this, think about this in terms of what you're bringing to the business, the eyeballs, the interest, the attraction, and think about what the business is getting from you. So selection, people, when they decide what they want to buy or where to shop, a lot of people look at what's their give back. And Bill and Susan's businesses are certainly two great examples of that. So we're getting to it. Recommendations, it's all there. The stats are there, the facts are there. When you combine nonprofit and for-profit together, it works. So let's get to, first of all, Bill and Susan, your corporate philosophy. I don't know which one of you would want to go first. Now, let's say Bill, business-wise, Hard Rock is huge, Susan, right? You're a big company. So you're at one level. Bill's got, Bill, you'll have to describe the size of your company. We know there's a lot of small business owners out there watching. So let's keep the whole audience in mind. But let's first talk about corporate philosophy. What do you think, Bill?
So I believe that, every business should give back to our community. It is our responsibility. And whether you're a big company like a Hard Rock or a small company like mine, I have 65 employees. Been in Fort Lauderdale since 1984. It's myself, my three brothers who run the company. But from day one, we have always been very philanthropic. And, we weren't always this many employees. Probably 20 years, we had maybe 30, 35 employees. But we were always giving back. And my first organization that I started with was Habitat for Humanity. It was a very easy way for a company like mine to, demo houses that have good product in there and take it to their restore. And that's kind of how that got started. But I truly believe, that people come to my company to hire us because they know, number one, we're known in the community as a company that gives back. So there's that trust factor that they know I'm not going anywhere, and we make sure they're taken care of. So many of our clients come from that. And just yesterday, I was talking to someone about having an event. The first place that popped up in my mind was the Hard Rock, because I know that they're a company that, first off, they give back to our community, huge, but they're going to make sure that whoever has an event there is going to be taken care of. But it's like, as a person, what pops in your mind first when you're thinking of doing business in the community? And I think it's a win-win situation for everyone, that you always think about, how we can give back. It just makes everything better. And I think the companies that we do business with that do give back, your chances of success, having a good product, a good experience are greater.
And Bill, I want to jump in real quickly before Susan does and say, you hit something. We did an hour-long session on this yesterday at National Leadership Institute. And one of the tips was, think about your business and what it does. You talked about remodeling and giving things to the Habitat Restore. So you took what your business does, your products and services, and directly tied it to a nonprofit that had a similar benefit. So that connection, guys, that's what we're looking for as we talk today. What does your business do? What does a nonprofit do? And connect the dots. We have over 5,000 nonprofits that are active in Broward County. There's a lot of causes out there to keep an eye on. So Susan, your turn. You're up next. Corporate philosophy. You guys do so much. And by the way, Bill said to me in our call that you're the reason Hard Rock does so much. You have pushed this philosophy and fought for it and helped create it. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill. And right back at you. Of all of the small businesses in South Florida community, everyone knows Bill. He attends everything. He gives back to everything. He offers his facility. He has figured out a way to truly partner with the community in so many different ways. And his business hopefully gets paid back triple because of his involvement with that. So kudos to you, Bill. It's a lot easier for me as a very large company. We have a pot of money that's put aside for our social responsibility, for our community affairs, for our involvement in the community. But tying back to what you just said, Raelyn, that I'm involved, one of the things that goes all the way back to the beginning when Max Osceola was our tribal chairman, And I first started with the tribe over 18 years ago. And Max was very involved in the community, and I was new to the community. And he was teaching me about the Seminole history and their different philosophies and why they do things the way they do. And one of the things that he said to me that stuck so deeply in my heart and in my soul was that over the years, when the Seminoles had nothing, when they were selling their trinkets by the side of the road, when they had no shoes to wear, when they were canoeing down the New River, and Mrs. Stranahan used to give them food and books and shoes, he said, if we make it here, if we become successful, I think he used when we make it here, though, instead of it, because they knew they were going to be successful. He said, keep in mind always that you give back to the community that gave to us. It is really important. If you're going to be representing the Hard Rock, you're representing the Seminole tribe. And we truly believe in giving back to people that took care of us. So that was the first philosophy that was passed on to me. And I tried very hard to continue in his footsteps, not only representing the Seminole tribe, but the Hard Rock brand as well. And one of the things that I learned from Max on top of financial giving was involvement. And when we do get involved in an event, it is not, to me, about writing a check. I don't want to say anybody could write a check, but it's true. Anybody could write a check. And over the years, I've had different property COOs come on board and really give me a hard time about, why are you so intensely involved in the community? Why do you have to go to everything? Why is it, why do you spread it out so much? Just write a check for $1 million to pick a charity, pick one of the local charities, write a check. We'll get a big PR bang out of it. And then you don't have to work so hard. And I was actually appalled at that philosophy, saying that, but that's what we do. It's our responsibility to help as many people as we do. It's not about the PR bang. And if over the years you've noticed, we do not do a lot of PR connected with our philanthropic giving. We don't do a lot of social media connected with it. The only PR that we generally get is when we do a red carpet and the charity is wanting to do a step and repeat, and they put out the sponsorships that we do. So to me personally, and to the Hard Rock, it has never been about what we get back out of it, but the giving to the people that need it most in our community.
That was beautifully said. Thank you, Susan and Bill. And I want to ask one thing, and this is going to be a little bit different from what you said, Susan, and I'm going off our question list for a second, but we actually encourage people, businesses and nonprofits, to brag about their partnerships. And brag is not a great word, you guys. Brag is boastful. It sounds kind of negative, but positive PR, there is a win-win side to a business showing that they're working with a nonprofit, because this nonprofit now gets eyeballs that may never have seen it before. You're attracting people to the cause. So Bill, you and I talked a little bit about this. The Hard Rock is in a different situation, being such a large company and large business, but the smaller businesses, that type of promotion could be invaluable.
It truly is. I believe that first off, my philosophy that my parents always taught me is, the more you give, the more you get. So I'm constantly thinking, how can I give? And it's not about writing a check, like Susan said. We all have time, talent, and so much to give and teach others. We're all successful people. So for me, it's never been about the, oh, look at me. The recognition just comes. People talk about you because you want to give, and people want to do business with people that are philanthropic and give back to the community. I know so many companies that are so successful, but you never hear them in the community. And, it's just like these nonprofits. You said there's 5,000 of nonprofits in just Broward County alone. But which ones do we know? There's only 100, maybe 200 that we can If we all put our heads together, we'll think of 200 nonprofits
Right.
out of 5,000. So, but the ones keep coming up are the good ones that we know do good for our community. And that's what people want to, that's who people want to donate to. When people come to me, and they often do, is Bill, I want to give, I want to volunteer, but who? I don't know who. And that's one of the things that I find amazing, mind-boggling actually, that people don't know who to give to, because so many charities are not good. So many companies are not good. And we make a mistake sometimes. Many people hire contractors that they get in such big trouble, probably 3 times a week, they're coming to my showroom because they hired the wrong contractor. It's the same thing about giving. When you give money and you find out that that's not a good organization, or the money wasn't used in the right manner, you feel offended, and it makes you not want to give anymore. So for me, it's all about just being able to give back. The more we give, the more we get. Paying it forward has been my philosophy. I mentioned that Habitat's really where I started. I do have a passion for helping. It's in the construction industry. Habitat, we build homes for many people that are worthy of it, that could never afford a home. But these people have to work to get elected to be a Habitat homeowner. You don't just become a homeowner because you qualify. There's so many qualifications to qualify, I should say, to become a Habitat owner. But I truly believe that as a small business, if you get involved in the community, you have to get involved. If you don't put the time in, you're never going to be successful in anything that you do. You're out there a lot. I'm shaking a lot of hands. I'm meeting people. But trust me, I grew my company, and my company is what it is today because of the giving back. I attribute it all to me getting involved in the chamber and nonprofits. Organizations like the chamber and nonprofits give you the ability to connect with people, and people get to know you, and people want to do business with you. And I will say, my hand to God right now, I probably have 10 projects that have come to me because people know me in the community. And they say, Bill, we're using your company because you give back to the community. So it's a win-win.
Bill and I cross charities constantly. We are on boards together. We attend a lot of the same events. One of the things that you said, Bill, really touches a chord. Yes, you have to promote yourself. I absolutely agree with that. One of the challenges that I have is that the Seminole tribe themselves are very humble people, and their giving back is not a sign of bragging. And it's a hard balance for me. So I really have to count on the charities to be able to do that. We are getting better at it, though. I will say that moving forward, the hotel has just hired a social responsibility VP who will be looking at diversity a lot more, at different involvements. We have a corporate HR department that gives globally. They give worldwide. Why Hunger? There are so many organizations that Hard Rock International gives to that I don't get involved with because my focus is completely local. And one of the things that is so important that Bill did touch on is that the money is going to the right people and the right places, and they're doing the right thing with your money, which is why Bill gets so involved and why I get so involved. It's very rare that I will allow the Hard Rock to write a big check unless I'm either on their board, I'm on their committee, I'm overseeing in some way, shape, or form where that money is going. They're not that people try to hide it, but if your expenses outweigh what your bottom line is for that particular event or that charity, then you're doing something wrong. And I want to teach you, I want to educate you on how to do it better. And that's something that I think I've been successful with so many organizations, where instead of spending a ton of money that just get wasted and no offense to the florists, because I know we have florists on the chamber board, and flowers are very, very important. And we do a lot of things with flowers. But one of the things that I've been able to do and be successful with in a creative way of making money is not only our baskets to donations, where we put a guitar in a gift basket with an overnight room and a restaurant certificate, some logo items. They make a really high profit for some of these charities. They're very valuable for two reasons. Number one, they're big and they're very showy. So remember that when you're making a donation, don't just hand somebody a slip of paper. Give them something that's going to give a wow factor. Now, especially that we're working on so many remote auctions instead of live events, give them something that people are going to see and take notice of. My basket may only be worth $1,000 because the guitar isn't all that expensive. It's a $350 room certificate. It's, you know, all these different tchotchkes in it. That retail value would be $1,000. But people pay sometimes $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. So remember that your presentation is, make sure that you know where your money is going. If a charity is legitimate, we don't give to anybody that cannot supply a 501c3, a W-9. Where's that money going? Are you wasting your money on, oh, I got off the guitar thing, on the florist? But one of the things that we have the inexpensive guitars, and because we buy so many of them, I think we keep Fender in business. We donate a lot of them, and I will donate them as centerpieces to charities. So instead of them spending $100, $150 on a centerpiece that's going to go to waste and be thrown away, or the flowers are going to die, we give them the guitar, put it on the table, and they auction it off. So instead of spending $100, $150, they're making $100, $200, $300, depending on looks. So that centerpiece then becomes a profit center for the charity. And I'm willing to do that for so many charities because it is branding for us. You ask me for a guitar, you're going to get it. I don't care who you are. You're going to put it on display on a table. My logo goes on that guitar, even without a logo, is so well.
So look,
I think Susan is cutting. Susan,
Branded
we're
to
losing
the
you.
Hard Rock. That's my advertising. Art does it for me.
We lost
So
a
think
little bit
about
of
how
that there,
you
I think.
brand your giving as well. Another, I'll move over a little somewhere. Me. Move somewhere.
Yeah,
Could you hear me?
are we all losing Susan just a little? That last little bit cut in and out, but I can tell you, okay, so Susan, that guitar got me at the last event we went to pre-COVID. I bought double raffle tickets to try to win that prize, and in my head I was winning it. And when someone else got it, I was shocked. I was floored. But it made such a visual statement. It was beautifully done. It was huge. It stood out, and everybody was kind of fighting to get to that space. So what a great example of what does your business have as a symbol, a product, a service to put out there in front of people that, as Susan said, is relatively inexpensive. Make a great gift out of it and get yourself in front of people. I mean, that's such a great example of what anyone can do. Think about what they do and how can you localize it? How can you personalize it, make it unique or similar for your business with a nonprofit? So I'm still disappointed I didn't win that package. I'll let it go soon. So,
Right.
and
I'll donate another one.
Right. That it's being recorded, folks. You heard that, right? We heard it. So, and Bill, you had Susan address this beautifully, and I'd like for you to do it as well. How you vet the charities that you get involved with. You talked a lot about that in our pre-call, and I think people want to know. So, everything that Susan said, building on that, how do you vet?
So let me say first that giving back is not about writing a check all the time. If you have money and you're wealthy, you should write a check, but you should do it to, do it to the good charities that are deserving of it. But when we look at a charity, years ago when I built my new showroom on Oakland Park, prior to that, we used to take any charity that came to us and do an event. And as the years went on, we started looking closer. And now it's so important to us to look at the organization and really do a little digging and find out more about them and what they actually do in our community. What is the amount of, and this can be looked up. We all know that all nonprofits are public information. So it's, we look closer now. We look at the board of directors of every organization. And then we also want to know who's going to come to our events when we host an event. What's it, are you bringing your board members? Because they're my clients. And let's face it, people, nonprofits are a business. So you're in business to bring money in. And that's what you have to do. But I learned many years ago when the WASI Foundation was very involved in our local community here. And Greg taught me something. He says, I could write a check every time, but if I'm donating $1,000 or $100,000, I want the charity to match my donation. They have to figure out how to raise money on their own, and then I will match it. And it's like, wow, how great is that? You'll double the amount of money you're trying to raise, but there's got to be something in it in return. You can't just keep giving money. So people, organizations, nonprofits have to learn how to raise money. So sometimes the events that we do have people at these events that may not be able to write a check, but they have great information and they can give back the talent that they have. And that's where I have found out that making the connections from people, an event that I hold where someone is there that becomes connected, or all of a sudden a light bulb goes off about, wow, I'm really touched by this organization. I want to give, I want to be part of it, I want to donate, or I know somebody else that I can bring in. And I've had donors in my office, in my showroom at an event that, number one, I've seen them write big checks. And number two, I've seen them get involved and become valuable members for years on end. So, giving back and vetting the organizations when we do an event, we really look a lot closer now, because honestly, it's what's in it for me. We all have that radio station playing in our mind, Wi-Fi, what's in it for me? So there's got to be something, a return on my investment. It's very important that, number one, I can raise as much for the charity. They do good with it. But again, and what it does for me, it gives me recognition. I get more by hosting 10 people in my showroom than spending $2,000 on an ad in a magazine. So much more valuable. And value to an organization does not have to mean bringing 100 people, because I've hosted events with 20 people in my showroom that have been so powerful and so valuable to an organization. That is really, you have to look at it a little differently. You start to learn who to bring in and what kind of audience you want. But it is so important to look at the organization and learn about them before we host an event. And especially in this time, it's more important that you're giving back to good organizations.
So Susan, I don't know if you want to add anything there, or I can go on to one of our next questions.
The only thing I would like to add is, it's got to be the right people, as Bill said. And that, again, does not mean that it's got to be people with money, because people have so many skills that they can donate: marketing skills, tech skills, painters, carpenters. There are people that need help. And it's not only Habitat. There are so many different organizations, the Susan B. Anthony Center, they're all over South Florida that look for help all the time. Their marketing is poor, their advertising is poor. They don't have the right tech skills to be able to teach their people how to do computers. And when in some of these centers, it's so important. There's sex trafficking centers that try to get these victims of sexual trafficking, when they get rescued and get back on board, teaching them life skills. It's not about giving money. It is about teaching them how to assimilate back into the community. And that sometimes is just a trade, teaching someone a trade that you is not only your money, your value is your knowledge and what you can share with people. So very, very valuable as well.
And that's where one thing, and I guess this will be sort of a semi-shameless plug, I don't know. That's where we talk about looking to be a board member. Who is a good board member candidate? It's not just the C-suite folks. It's not just the VPs. It's not just the big business leaders in our community. Small businesses and nonprofits have so much that they can do together. A small business leader can go on a nonprofit board, a working board, more of a working board than a governance style board, and be a huge game changer. Huge game changer. So when we talk about corporate social responsibility and a corporate philanthropic mindset, think about, if you're a small business listening today, what cause moves you? Where can you get involved? And I'm going to do something that may not be very popular. I'm going to encourage people to think outside those top 200 nonprofits that get all the attention in Broward County. Those other 4,800, I think I just did the math right. They're out there doing amazing work, people. So do some homework to see who's out there. If your business sells lampshades, I bet you there's a nonprofit that could partner with you, and it could be a win-win for both of you. So on a win-win note, success stories. Let's share some examples, success stories.
If I could
Bill,
I want to share something. So, about 15 years ago, I used to be chair of the board of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. I lost my father to leukemia, something very close to my heart. I love the organization. I donate today. I volunteer, whatever I can do. It's still very passionate. But when I built my new showroom, I built it in mind for smaller charities, because after 4 years of running a large organization, I kind of felt like I'm raising all this money. And in 4 years, I did their signature event for 4 years. And over the 4 years, raised about $1 million. But I kind of got a little discouraged because it is such a big organization. So when my brother and myself designed our showroom, we said, well, let's do it so that we can bring the smaller. And the perfect example was Jessica June Children's Cancer. And small organization, grassroots, how do we bring, though? That's what I want to build my showroom for. Bring in organizations and help this charity raise money and help people within our community. So it really is so important that, you look at when you volunteer for a board, and this is really important, everybody, you have to commit. To just go sit on a board and sit there and not contribute and just take up a seat, you're not doing yourself justice or the organization. So if you really jump in with, a commitment that you're going to do the work and give back and speak up about it, you have to be a valuable member. And I've always said, if I'm going to be part of a board, I'm only going to volunteer if I can be valuable to that board. I don't want to sit there and not be able to participate. I'm wasting time, talent, everything. Someone else could be there. So that's really important. You, nonprofits, as you're looking for a board member, you really need to ask that person, are you truly going, can you commit? Can you give of yourself? And I'm not necessarily a check. Some people ask the wealthy people in our community, well, make those people honorable board members. Because if they're not going to show up to a board meeting and all they're going to do is write a check, then make sure your other people know these are honorable board members, but here's our working board.
and frankly, I would love to continue down this line. So Robert, if he had his hook, would pull me back if we were live and in person. He does that so well, so well. But Susan, I want to ask you this question, and we'll get to successes. Your staff, your team, the people around you, how do you personally, you do so much in the community. If people know you at all, they see you everywhere and they know what you do. But how do you encourage the give back mindset with your team, with your staff, with those around you?
It's totally by example and passion. It's very hard to be around people like Bill and me and other people in the community that do this because not only it's the right thing, but because we in what we're doing. We're so passionate about the causes that we get involved in. We're so passionate about our community that if you have any kind of passion in you at all, if you were raised the right way, if you know it's the right thing to do, if you want to get involved at all, it's contagious. The team that I have got so involved in the community. They don't get paid for it. It's part of my job title, but it was never part of theirs. My team were special events managers, and their main focus and their main job was producing events for the Hard Rock. The community affairs all fell on me. Whether they wanted to be involved in an event or not was their choice. And 99.9% of the time, if they had a choice on a Friday night to go home, a Saturday night to not have to get dressed up, a Sunday afternoon, not have to go to a luncheon, 99% of the time, they would choose to show up, not because they had to, but because they've heard me on the phone. They've seen me work with these organizations. They've seen the results of the work that we do with the committees. They've seen how it makes a difference, and they want to be involved. People want to be involved. They want to help. And again, especially for some of these younger kids that I mentor, they don't have the pocketbook. They don't have money to write the checks, but especially if the Hard Rock is buying a table, they'll show up at an event and they'll spend $100 on a raffle ticket or an auction item, and just, learn more about what the charity is involved and learn how to be engaged. I have 3 people on my team that have become a big brother or a big sister because of my involvement in that organization. And those kids' lives have been changed forever, not only my team members, but the kids that they get involved with. Bill is very involved in Habitat. I have so many volunteers that want to be involved with Habitat that we have to tell them, no, I'm sorry, we're not doing that many builds this year. We'll put you on the list for next year. I have lists going in our HR department of various charities that do need help. So that's something that you could do within your own organization, is find out which of the charities that do need volunteers. Be passionate about what you do. If you don't believe in it, don't bother, because you're not doing anybody any good. As Bill said, if you are taking up a board seat, quit, leave, ask them to fill the board seat with someone that's going to make a difference. I have asked a couple different charities to remove me from a board seat because I just don't have time. I'm on 8 boards. That's a lot of boards. And there are just certain ones that conflict with each other that I just can't make it. And I have said, as Bill has said, take me off, give me put me on the honorary board, put me on advisory board. I've been told a couple times, no, I'm just not going to do that for 2 reasons. Number one, even if I do not attend a board meeting, I am still exceptionally involved in the organization. I read the meeting minutes. I respond to it. I get involved with the things that they're doing. And unfortunately, for business reasons, they want the Hard Rock name on their board. So it means something to have the name on the board, but I won't just let them put the Hard Rock name if I'm not involved in some way, shape, or form. So it's really important.
Susan, I think you must have some clones. You have to have a couple clones out there running around with all that you do. So Bill and Susan, I want to ask you this. In terms of the pandemic, how have you adapted your corporate give back mentality? Have you had successes during this, coming up on a year since the world kind of shut down? What's changed in the last year, and do you have some successes to share?
So,
or failures, because we learn from failures, folks.
Absolutely. Listen, so we haven't been able to do a lot of in-person events, but about 2 months ago, I had a very successful event, which blew me away. Memorial Healthcare did a live cooking, a Facebook live cooking. So the doctors from the hospital, the oncology department, 12 doctors that work in oncology, surgeons, they all came in and they formed 3 teams of 4 and did a cook-off. So the only people we had in the showroom were the doctors, a couple staff members, a television crew, and they were filming it live. They raised $30,000 in 2 hours on a Facebook Live event. So it shows you that people still want to give. Now me, because I haven't been going to a lot of events, and whenever I'm invited to an event as a guest, I always make sure that while I'm there at that event, I give back at least the value of my seat. So buying raffle tickets, bidding an auction item, making a donation. I think that's so important that we do that. But we give a lot. So now when people ask for, they're having a silent auction or live auction, we always give to that. And, just wherever we can. And I make a lot of small donations now. So whenever somebody asks, I'm always trying to make at least a small donation. We see so many great organizations up on Facebook where you can donate to a great cause. I encourage everyone to contribute. It doesn't have to be a big donation, but if you keep giving a little bit to each one, it really does help that organization. And when it comes to events and volunteering, my staff volunteers. So I ask them, if you want to give back your time, what a great way to do it is to come to our event. They're usually from 6 to 8 o'clock at night, and we ask them to volunteer. And my staff gets so much value out of it. Number one, my designers get to meet hands and shake people that could be their clients. My staff that volunteers, that's some of my construction crew will do the valet parking or coordinate parking, but they all give back a little bit. And whenever it's convenient for them, and they just come back to me afterwards and go, wow, this was so great. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of giving back a little bit. So we really try to teach all of our employees the benefits and the importance of how important it really is to give back and volunteer.
So for the Hard Rock, pivoting during COVID has been quite interesting. And what we found, of course, we went from 100 miles an hour and just opened our huge guitar tower. We're so ridiculously busy, and then the world stopped. Go home, and now what? So of course our spring was exceptionally busy and booked up with all of these charity events that what the hell were we going to do? I mean, we couldn't do them. The first couple weeks, I spent my time calling just about every single charity that I had been involved with, seeing what their needs were. We took everything that we had in our freezers, our refrigerators, anything that we could get out of our warehouses to give to the Pantry of Broward, to Feeding South Florida. Just took everything that was in any way disposable, and knew we weren't going to be opening for a while. So to make sure, even our canned goods, we just gave away everything we possibly could. I was really, really surprised at the amount of people, and this shows how good our community is. When I called someone like 211 Broward or Neighbors for Neighbors, or, I'm saying, what do you guys need? What could we do for you? And they were, Susan, we're okay right now. These are the charities that we think need more help than we do. And they would direct me to these different charities that were having food deprivation, or they needed pillows because they had more people that were staying in their facility and needed pillows and sheets and blankets. So we started pivoting to that. The Hard Rock, again, is extremely generous, and they did not stop the flow of money. And my boss will kill me for saying this, but the personal money that some of our high-end executives gave to the different food pantries was staggering, and it was their own personal money as well as money from the Hard Rock that was being donated during the time. Since we came back, we reopened sometime in June. Of course, we are not allowed to do events, and the social distancing was a problem. In the casino, they've been able to control it. If you've seen our commercials, the Safe and Sound, they have done everything. When I tell you those commercials are not bull. I see the back of the halls, the cleanliness that they've been able to do there, the partitions, the continual clean staff that they have going around. They have made the environment as safe as possible for the community to come back to, but not at full capacity. To them, it wasn't about, let's just bring everybody in because we're cleaning and everybody will feel safe. They're still keeping things at the capacities that, you know, they feel are safe. And let me tell you something, we're a sovereign nation. So the Seminoles do not have to fully comply with the regulations. What they've done is actually take it a step further than some of the state and city regulations, because they are so concerned about the health and safety of the tribe, of the employees, of our casino customers, that they have taken it to a step above what the regulations were. Unfortunately, events are not back yet, so we have been doing a lot. I have given away more auction items and more baskets and more things to different charities because they are doing a lot of online auctions. And I have been involved in podcasts, in live and virtual events to try to do fundraising in any way we can over the course of this pandemic. But we're keeping our fingers crossed. We're seeing good signs. People are being vaccinated. We're seeing more and more people wanting to get out. The one thing that I do want to caution everybody about, and I see it happening, is take your time. Please take your time. Don't blow this. You know, make sure you're vaccinated. Make sure you continue to wear a mask, because our country is seeming to get healthy, and we need to keep it that way. Our hospitality industry has been decimated by what's happening out there. My team of event managers, community affairs managers, and my contract labor staff have all been let go. Horrifies me. These are great people that have worked so hard, but there's nothing for them to do. So we had to let them go. Fortunately, we have found other jobs for 90% of them within our company, and they are doing other things, but we need to bring them back. We need to bring back not only to the Hard Rock, but to the community, bartenders, food servers, entertainers, all of those vendors and gig workers that have been out of work and don't necessarily get stimulus checks because they're contract labor. They're the people that we need to help and need to get them back to work. So take your time, do it right. We're going to bring it back, but please do it right and don't put us at any more risk.
And Susan, you just said that so beautifully. And those people, those gig workers, those folks that need to get back to work need help. And guess where they get it, folks? Our nonprofit community. So it all circles right back to where we started this conversation. Partnerships between a business and a nonprofit can create revenue, eyeballs, advertising, marketing. It helps grow your business, and it helps the nonprofit do more good in our community. It is all such a big circle and cycle. And Robert's wanting us to wrap up now. He is the boss of our time, and we want to stay on time. Susan, thank you so very much. By the way, a takeaway from today, which came to me in the chat, you're like Oprah. Everybody's getting a guitar. That was one of the takeaways. And Bill, everybody wants you and Susan on their board, but now they know what they have to do to get you guys. So there's so many takeaways, but thank you guys for thinking. And I hope you leave this session today as a business or nonprofit trying to think outside of the box. How can you brainstorm ways to work as a business with a nonprofit nonprofit that's either passionately close to your heart or that just fits what you do for your line of work. So think about it, brainstorm, and we'll talk about this again, I hope. Robert, back to you.
I want to, Rob, before you go, I just want to thank everyone. Thank you for inviting Susan and myself. And I want to remind everyone that this week, it's a 1-year anniversary that we really got hit with COVID and shut our country down. So personally, I am just recovering from COVID. I spent a week in the hospital. We are getting back to normal. Thank God, we're almost there. The chamber is going to be, we're looking at starting in April next month, doing live events. But again, like Susan said, safely, carefully, wearing masks. Even though we are getting through this, do not let your guard down, because I really had a hard time, and you just don't know if it's going to affect you or not. And let me tell you, it's the worst thing I ever went through, and didn't know that if I was even going to make it. So really just keep your guard up. We're so fortunate here in South Florida to be in the community that is so vibrant. And although much things are still shut down, most of us are working. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Great, thank you, thank you, thank you. So Susan and Bill, thank you both very much for, one, all that you do, and for, two, promoting the nonprofits in the community that you all have partnered. I know, speaking on personally, the Pride Center at Equality Park, both of you have been wonderful partners and collaborators, and on behalf of the nonprofits here, because you do so much for so many. Thank you very much for all of your support. We do appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Raelyn, for moderating today and having such a great conversation. And I've seen lots of comments in the chat. And so thank you very much. So one nonprofit council bit of business. If you are interested in participating in a future discussion, in a future meeting, please email myself or Raelyn, and we will figure you into the mix. We've had such a great conversation. I appreciate it. And it is time for us to wrap this up. So on behalf of the Nonprofit Council, thank you. On behalf of the Chamber, thank you. If you aren't a member, please become a member of the Chamber. There are so many benefits. And as Bill and Susan talked about during their presentation, this is a time for all of us to come together, work together, and make our community that much stronger and better. So thank you, everyone. Have a great week. Stay safe. I have my mask here. Wear your mask, as Bill said, and Susan said, and keep the community safe. So thank you, everyone. Take care.
Everyone. Have a great day.
Remember, everyone, pay it forward, and the more you give, the more you get.
Love it.